This demonstration video today is a how-to on using the Bait Junkies 4-ounce and Bait Junkies 7-ounce injector. These injectors take a little bit to learn how to use, and the biggest issue that's most critical is using them correctly. What you have to do to use them correctly is you got to preheat the injectors before you start injecting. There's several ways of doing it. One way is to take a torch and just heat the entire injector until you bring it up to a higher temperature so that when you put it in plastic, it won't cool the plastic. Another way is to put it on a hot griddle, let it sit for a little while, come up on temperature, or you can stick it into a toaster oven and cook it in the toaster oven for a little while. Whatever you do, do not put it in a microwave. Right. The easiest and most effective way of doing it is to take it and put it into a hot pot, Presto pot of plastic, and recycle several times in the plastic to heat up the tube. You'll actually feel as you're doing it, the injector rod will get easier to maneuver, and that tells you that you're heating up your plastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate first without heating up the 4-ounce injector, and I'm going to go ahead and try to discharge, suck up plastic out of the Presto pot and discharge it into the Pyrex cup and see how many times I can get it. And even though it's faster than injecting a mold, it's representative of what you can obtain or what happens if you don't properly heat up the injector. The 4-ounce being a smaller injector than the 7-ounce should heat up quicker, but if you don't heat it up correctly, it's going to freeze over. Freeze over means that the plastic will start solidifying in the injector and you won't be able to inject, and any injecting that you do get accomplished, chances are it's not going to be a good injection. So here we go. Hold it in, keep the tip hovering off the bottom, suck up your plastic, start your injection. Okay, put it back in the plastic, pull up more plastic, go to your molds, start injecting, and she's already freezing over. And if you look coming out of the tip, you may see clumps trying to come out of the tip, and that's because she has solidified or froze over. Now the correct way of heating up the injector or using the injector is to heat it up. What you do is you put it in the Presto pot into the plastic, you keep the tip off the bottom while you're sucking up. You suck up and then you push the tip down on the bottom at an angle, and then you push down to inject all of the plastic. You lift it up again, you pull up, push it back down, and eject. Lift it up, suck up, push down, and eject. And you'll see that it's starting to get easier going both directions. And that's because the injector is starting to heat up. These thicker wall injectors have to have plastic or some sort of heat applied to them in order to make them work. If not, they will freeze over. Now let's just go ahead and eject some in here. It shows that it's free flowing, and I'll do it a second time to show it continues to free flow. So basically it's going to be usable to inject the mold. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some molds into the frame, and I'm going to inject some molds to show you that I can continue going, that it is now at the temperature it needs to be to operate. I think I may be able to get 3 out of each. Suck back up. And I'm going to shoot 2 more because I want to bring something into the frame, a little contraption that I designed that will make things a lot easier than having to sit there and hold the injector and fight with it while you're trying to heat it up. This little contraption is basically an injector holder, and it's homemade, very simple for anybody to make. It's a 20 by 17, actually 20 by 17 inch piece of plywood, and it's got a 12.25 inch high 2x4 screwed to the middle. Now I like to use a plywood base on anything that I'm using that has the possibility of being unstable if it's by itself. Right now the Presto pots will be on top of the plywood. There's no way that a small base injector stand like this can wobble around, fall over, knock a Presto pot over. Next thing you know, you're wearing 350 degree hot plastic. But with this setup like this, instead of resting your injector in the Presto pot this way, which means you have to pick it up and move it in order to stir it, you just put it over on the side. You take your stirring stick, you can stir your plastic. I got salt in this, so it's starting to settle, so I gotta break it up. Now you've got your injector constantly in the hot plastic, and it's heating up the injector because of the temperature of the hot plastic. And to charge the injector, all you have to do is pull up and you're fully charged. Push down and you're not sucking bottom because it's held off bottom and you don't have to fight with it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to suck up some plastic and I'm going to shoot that last mold, show you how simple it is. You suck up the plastic, come over to the mold, shoot the mold, pull the injector out, put it back on the 2x4, purge it. There you are, all set up, ready to go. The thing that's nice about this is if you have desire to do laminates, with the addition of a 1-inch high riser put on top of this, you can take the Bait Junkie Pro Lam system, put it inside, and there now you can pull plastic out of 2 colors to shoot laminates. The only thing I recommend with this is that you do not try to cycle the plastic in and out of this to heat the tips, because now you're fighting 2 injectors trying to cool 2 barrels. I just leave it in here, let it sit for about 10-15 minutes while your plastic's getting to the correct temperature. It'll heat up the injector, and there you go. Now the thing that's also nice about this setup here is if you, down the road, buy yourself a Pro Stirrer from Bait Junkies, you can fit on here. The paddles will not touch the injectors, and you can operate with the Pro Stirring system. And as time goes on, if you want to go ahead and buy the Pro Control, you can add it on here. And then in the last thing, if you want to do it, depends on the direction you want to go, you can buy the injector holders and utilize it. Now the injector holders is fairly important because that helps speeds up the heating of the barrels of the injectors. Now all the thick wall injectors have to be preheated before you shoot with them. The thinner wall injectors that are available out there on the market do not require the special heating. The plastic will heat them up, but on the thicker wall ones you have to heat them up, and I find this is the easiest way. Have your injector bracket, put your injectors on it, leave them in the Presto pot, let it heat up, and then you can go to town. If you got that the Pro Stirring system on top of it, it makes it even better. I hope this has been helpful to you all. This video was brought to you courtesy of shopbaitjunkies.com. If you got any questions or requests, you can send them to the shopbaitjunkie.com contact us form section, and we'll be more than happy to do whatever you need. Thank you.